So let's have a look. Welcome to the broadcast. We've got a big old set coming in here at the Cribbar. We've got no viewers so far, but hey ho, that will change. Panning over to North Fistral. Got a little crew with me today. Of course it is. Would you like to introduce yourself, gentlemen?
Hello, I'm Johnny.
Tim.
And a few words. Okay, so the boys have been watching for about the last how long? 20 minutes?
And the rest.
Been saying for about an hour.
Have you?
I'm not leaving until someone says.
Okay, they've been here for an hour or so, and they've seen. Well, run us through what we were saying about a minute ago, Tim. What were you saying about those sets that are coming through?
Well, it's an interesting looking swell. There's a lot of it's missing the reef and coming through into Little Fistral here, and then the stuff from on the to the south has really been dragged into the reef, and the lefts are looking better, but it's all incidental really because no one's surfing at the moment.
Well, in my humble opinion, left here is the best. I mean, I'm a big fan of lefts personally, but the left at the Cribbar is the wave to ride, and it's the wave that you don't very often see ridden. It's definitely the most hairy of the two options out there on the left. You get a more hollow opportunity to get a decent barrel, so hopefully if this swell does turn on, then we'll have the opportunity to see somebody getting pitted. But you saw some guys on it earlier, Johnny, didn't you?
Well, I saw a guy on the left at Little get a really good barrel. I was convinced it was you. So convinced that I said I know that style anywhere. Any viewers?
Yeah, not me today, mate. I've got that age-old injury that comes on when Cribbar gets 3 times overhead. So yeah, decided to stay dry this opportunity.
Word,
But,
I know that one.
But yeah, we've got a chap called Rob Fowley, who is kind of the renowned tow master at Cribbar of recent times, and he was just spotted right over there at that break off Crantock. Do you boys know the name of that spot over there?
Zorbers.
Zorbers is the one which is just off the edge of the Goose, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a minute ago we just had a set break off over there, so that's another kind of misto big wave spot that you have break off the Cornish coast. Cribbar's the most well known, but on these big swell events you do get these other freaky waves that are kicking in. I saw them over there on the jet ski checking that out, but looks to me as though, to be honest, even though we're here for the Cribbar, North Fistral and Little Fistral is absolutely turning on, and it's not maxing out. You know, most Cornish waves, when the swell gets this size, you know, the problem is we get so much swell that it kind of maxes out most of the beach breaks, and really you need a jet ski to enable you to get the most out of them. But there's plenty of channels out there, there's plenty of crew out there getting loads of waves. The paddle out doesn't look that big for the size, and next to here where we're sat, Little Fistral, that's where you get a really nice kind of rip current next to the rock, so you can paddle out often with dry hair. You've had a few dry hair paddle outs there, haven't you, Johnny?
Yeah, just a few.
Take your hat off and see what you've got to try.
Yeah, if I had any hair, it would be dry, I'm sure.
Okay, so just to give a lowdown, a local's lowdown of the beach here. What's the break at the far end of the beach there, Johnny? Where you surfing?
That's South Fistral.
South Fistral. What's that renowned for?
That's really nice left-hand wedges.
Yeah, good. And holds a big swell, probably a little bit smaller than North Fistral most of the time. But the big advantage of surfing there, Johnny, is
Jumping off the rocks.
Jumping.
Well, I said nice easy paddle. The amount of times we've come across on those rocks.
Exactly. Okay, so just while we're chatting, we've got a cheeky set coming in at Cribbar. Let's see if what's known as Tim's left is kicking in. Okay. So we've got left there, so the wind's blowing really strong up the face. Not as strong as it's been for the last few days, but whilst you're out there, there'll be a few ribs in the face there. Something I know plenty about, having surfed here and come across and hitting one of those ribs, one of those chops in the wave face and going right over the handlebars a couple of years ago. Hence why I'm not out there today. But yeah, looking back across the bay then, so we've got South Fistral all the way over to the far end of the beach, and then in the middle of the beach you get kind of peak beach break opportunities, so you get lefts and rights. And then over at the north end, Tim, what's your favourite wave at the north end? Do you like the in front of the hotel? I've seen you surf quite a bit.
Yeah, just in front of the hotel. This peak here, really, somebody's just got a
Oh
bomb
yeah,
on.
let me just zoom in on that. So nice big left-hander break in there. So the way the wind's blowing at the moment, it's just blowing right into those lefts. It looks as though the left, even at North Fistral, which is more renowned for the rights, is working really well. And then, yeah, as you were saying, Tim, so it's actually known by the locals as Headland Peak, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And I find myself drifting over to Little quite a lot as well, trying to escape the crowd a little bit.
That's getting caught on the inside. And then thinking I'm never going to get out ever again.
Yeah, so Little Fistral, kind of a bit more of a localised spot. It's not as busy as a lot of the other spots, and the reason for that is because
parking charges.
Yeah, parking charges, but also it's not quite as accessible to get to and as well known. Got all sorts of young people coming up here. Here's my daughter and her friend, and here's Parker. Hey mate, how you doing? Oh, here we go. Incoming. Got another left at Cribbar. So it seems as though even just whilst we've been sat here, the frequency of the sets at Cribbar is becoming more regular, so we'd hope that the tow team would return back here, but sometimes when they race off, as they have done at the moment, that's sometimes because they've either experiencing a technical issue that they're trying to work out, or they're just going to check somewhere else out. Yeah, Johnny's saying they might have bottled it. I'm not suggesting that. Oh yeah, so if you look right out to sea, you can zoom in here. So over at Zorbus Reef, just right out to sea, almost beyond, there we can see just that bit of white right on the horizon there. There's like a misto spot that's right out, and that's where the tow team are hanging out at the moment, and that's somewhere that a lot of people have been talking about surfing for many years. It's not really been documented much. One of the reasons it's not been documented is because when you have, the best way to shoot it would be via drone, and when you have big swell events like this, you usually get big wind, and drones and big wind don't go well at all. So it's almost impossible to shoot it unless you have another jet ski which is shooting it, and you don't get that opportunity much in the UK. In Hawaii maybe, but not really in the UK. So here we go, it's a nice little set coming in. I say little, it's probably chunky. How big would you say that is, Tim?
It's so hard to gauge it when there's nobody on there, but it's got to be a solid 12 to 15.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it was saying a 3 metre swell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is
19-second period, and the Penale boy's still showing 18 seconds. So
got it.
It's got some power in the water today.
How does that compare to when you surfed it, Rob? Similar size or smaller?
Hard to say. I don't know. I felt that on that day that I surfed it the last time, it was almost like a dream setup. There seemed to be like just one perfect big peak, if you know what I mean, rather than it being such a sort of. This seems like it's quite stretched out, so it'd be hard to pick the waves that are going to allow you to get a sort of backdoor of the peak, or see like this.
This is one of the biggest sets we've had for a while.
Yeah,
this is where you sit on the shoulder.
Exactly. Okay, so as Tim was saying, long period groundswell.
Zorbus is breaking.
Here we go, Zorbus is breaking, so that's where the guys are right out at sea there.
A bit of offshore.
Wow. Okay, and then back to Cribbar. So yeah, as I was saying, a long period groundswell just goes to show that, the characteristics of this type of day are that you get long lulls, and then you get real long sets of, say, up to 10 waves sometimes. And it doesn't seem as though they get bigger and bigger and bigger through the set. So if it does go wrong here and you kind of blow it on the first wave, or your leash snaps or something like that, you end up on the inside by these rocks, and then you can't escape because you get pinned in there by the set, and it's a matter of staying away from the rocks until that set dissipates, and then you can hopefully kind of limp your way back round to Little Fistral this way, or round to the Gazelle on the opposite side. But it was only the last swell that I saw when there was an issue with the jet ski. Did you boys see that?
Well, I'll hand you over to Tim, because we ended up rescuing the sled.
Did ya?
From the gully down here.
No way. What happened, Tim?
So
Tell me about it.
We were just hanging out up here, and Rob came back, who was the chap that was on the ski.
Rob Fowley.
Rob Fowley, yeah. And pointed out that his sled was stuck down in the gully down there, and he could really do with getting it out. So
he was limping.
He was limping quite badly. He got the tow rope tangled around his leg as the ski went down and got dragged into the to free himself, but the ski sunk, the sled came off the back and was getting smashed around in the gully down there, and we managed to fashion up a custom rescue sled recovery device using a cross tyre iron and 3 bits of webbing strapped together, and we lobbed it in there and managed to hook one of the straps and then drag the thing out the gully for him. It was our good deed for the day. He was very happy. The thing was smashed to bits though. So.
No way. So did he lose the jet ski?
Yeah, jet ski's gone.
And a
Wow.
Yeti mug.
And a Yeti mug. Wow.
Word. Which was worth more than the jet ski.
Full retail price, definitely. So yeah, I think the
He hasn't got it back yet.
Oh wow.
It's like old times with Barbara.
Jesus. Barbara.
No, do you know what I mean? Dad jokes.
Magic
Not
doesn't
the
Media
die.
reunion made in hell.
So viewers are going down all of a sudden. That's weird.
Well, we've got 2 people left.
How many? Two in total.
I'm watching in my pocket.
Okay, so here we go. It's another smaller set now. So yeah. Well, knowing all that about Roth Valley and the tow crew, doesn't surprise me that they're taking a wide berth from here and giving it a go over there. Because whilst there's potentially bigger waves over there, at least there isn't the risk of running into these treacherous rocks.
Does look like they're headed back actually.
Yeah, but you
it's
kind
a
of
little
need,
inside
you
out.
need to
Look
give
at that
the
one.
people a show, don't you?
Exactly.
Look at the people gathered here.
Yeah, I
On
mean,
the promise of
yeah. Look at this.
Cribbar action.
So it's good to see Newquays come out in force to watch the action, as they always do. And yeah, I was just going to make the point that this crew that are sat out at North Fistral, in my experience of sitting out here, I don't know if you boys have found the same, on big days like this, it's almost a matter of finding yourself sat too far out to sea than getting caught inside. You kind of keep on, because this rip current pulls around the headland.
Yeah, and the wind as well, the offshore, the combination of the two, 100%.
Exactly.
But then the moment you go inside, that'll come in.
You're too tempted to get back into the sort of takeoff point, and then before you know it, you get caught by a set. So it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse. You sat there chilling, enjoying it, maybe chatting to your friend, being stoked that you're not getting caught by a set, then you realise you haven't had a wave for 20 minutes, paddle in a bit, and then take 10, 15 waves on the head.
Joys of surf.
Exactly. So yeah, there's no reward without risk in this game, and getting on the end of one of these wedges, like you can see here. So what you kind of can't see, perhaps through the footage that I'm delivering here, is that these waves are kind of wedging off the side of this headland, and these surfers are looking for the wedging peak, so the waves that have got a bit of a cross wave running through them, and it's the lefts going into the channel from there, or riding with that bounce towards the middle of North Fistral, and then you get a really fast ride, and that's where we've seen some amazing barrels recently. So back to the Cribbar, it's all turning on again. So you see this stacked horizon, really groomed by this offshore breeze, lots and lots of interest, so the crew mounts, and the reason that it's getting busier up here is because we've just hit low tide. Low tide was about 2 o'clock, and it's from 2 o'clock onwards that you'll see the tide turn, and with the tidal turn you get an increased swell size and a bigger frequency of waves, and it's that the big wave riders are looking for. So surprised in a way not to see any paddle surfers today. So do you want to talk about the difference between paddle surfers and towing, Tim?
Well, the clue's in the name, really. But with this offshore wind today, this will be a tricky paddle. I think it has simmered down a little bit in the last half hour, but there's still a lot going on the face of this wave. And with the infrequency and the positioning, and you see the guys over at North struggling to stay in position and find things. I think we've seen 3 waves ridden over at North in the entire time you've been doing this.
Totally.
It's a day. It feels like a day for towing. I just want those skis to come back now so we can see a little bit of action, because I'm not moving from this bench until somebody catches a wave with Cribbar. I'll stay here all night.
Exactly, camped out. So the sort of the trials and tribulations of towing over or paddling over surfing. So over towing, Johnny. So
Yeah, with the paddling, obviously you need especially with conditions like this, you need a big board. You're trying to match your speed with the wave to catch it, and like Tim said, with the offshore as well, that's another factor against you. You've got to really be almost under the lip to catch it. Obviously with being towed in, you generate that speed and you're already on the wave and you can see what's happening before. the wave breaks.
Exactly,
So,
yeah.
so proper advantage there. But the purists would want to paddle it. Yeah. Having never done either, I don't know. can't really say.
You've been
I
out
don't feel
of
qualified.
Constant armchair expert. 101st chairborne ranger.
I mean, what I would do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so exactly as Johnny said, you need a really long board. So we've seen sort of Tom Butler and Chris Burtish out here paddling into absolutely huge waves before. They're experts at doing it, and they've trained for years to be able to sort of do that capably. And it's a very dangerous thing to do, you know. That's why when Nazare and these breaks get to a certain size, like they are today during this Swell event across the whole of Europe, then you'll only see people towing in, because it's so hard to catch the waves because they're moving so quickly, and it's also so dangerous once you get caught in the wrong place if you haven't got a jet ski there to rescue you. So I definitely recommend that. Effectively, towing is the most effective, but paddling is the most kind of recognised as being the most skill required, and therefore the purists prefer it. And it's kind of somebody's getting an amazing paddle wave is a spectacular situation. And I remember last time that I surfed here and it was huge, seeing Tom Butler command it was like amazing. It really built my confidence being able to surf with him, because I could see that he was in the right space every time. Gave me a load of good advice when I was out there. He was telling me that if you have a wipeout, keep your eyes open under the water, and that keeps you settled, which I'd never really thought about before. And he also told me that as soon as I come up, to tap my head so that he knows that I'm all right, and he'll do it when he's all right. I don't know what he thought I was going to do if he wasn't all right, but I kind of felt as though I was in safe hands by sort of saying I was all right. But yeah, and yeah, it's, you know, good to know that there's like a big wave riders code out there that he was kind of like sharing with me out of his experience of doing it out at Nazare and beyond. So yeah, I thought maybe we'd see him out here today. Oh, okay, coming in from stage left, a bit of input from my boy Parker. So maybe we'll just wrap this up now. Gonna have a look at this final big peak over at North Fistral. So as Tim was saying, we just haven't really seen many surfers catching waves at all, just because it's almost like the playing field is so huge on these days that to find yourself in that magical spot is super hard. I think just to finalise, we'll just reflect on a bit of information about the Cribbar. So Cribbar was first body surfed in 1966. That was by a bunch of lifeguards out here. Imagine rolling up here and not having a leash, not knowing whether it was rideable. You know, these guys didn't have leashes in those days, didn't have wetsuits, not knowing if it was rideable, and just going out there and not really having anything like the RNLI service that we've got now. You're going out there and challenging yourself. You've got to tip your hat to those guys for doing that. And then moving on through the ages, it kind of became more regularly surfed and bodyboarded when we got into the sort of 1990s, and then early 2000s is when, mid 2000s is when we got Chris Burtish surfing on what many classes as Swell of Swells. That's when the internet blew up with it being ridden. And then these days, I remember Russell Winter and Spencer Hargreaves, they were kind of having to go at towing it through a period as well, and then Tom Butler started surfing it more. Any more names that I've missed from there, boys, that you can think of? It's kind of like a regular contingent of Newquay riders that are going out there all the time, aren't there?
Yeah.
Which Nick Tisco's been having a dig lately, hasn't he? And obviously Rob Fowley's getting stuck into it now. So through each age, we've had a new era of rider getting stuck into it. I think Johnny Fryer had a really good go, I remember, one year. But it seems to be the sort of place where you go out there, you have a good go at it, and then maybe you sort of tick that box and then don't go back and go, look at that! Look at that over there. Oh, got a grommet in the way. Back over to Cribbar. Oh, muncher. If you were under that, you wonder whether it would actually be physically possible to duck dive it. I think you'd probably have to abandon your board, rely on your leash, and then if your leash didn't hold, you'd be in a whole world of pain. I actually had my leash snap out here and lost my bodyboard and never ever saw it again, which was expensive surf. And then I had to swim all the way back in to Little Fistral and do a little mini coast steer to get up the rocks here, which was, yeah, probably where I got a few of my grey hairs from, I'd say. Okay, so without any toe surf action here at the moment, I think it's a good time to say thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, guys.
Hi.
And we're going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's work out how to wrap this up.